Wonderful to meet you again on My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live as we go through the list of teams at this year's tournament and try and analyze what they look like. As I said, the sense of anticipation is always great, and for all you Rajasthan fans, here is what lies in store, or certainly here's what we believe lies in store. The first thing that strikes you when you look at Rajasthan, you say, wow, man, what an overseas score. They've had this overseas score for a while, but their issue always was because there were so many players from England, the start of the English season, suddenly no Stokes, no Archer, not sure Buttler. Now it's at a different time. And who knows, they might just have everybody available to them. And that is such a big factor for them. Hopefully they'll have Stokes available for the entire season, and if their key 4 overseas players are available, then wow, this side looks fantastic, especially because one of them, Buttler, plays 2 roles. He goes up at the top of the order, inevitably gets them off to amazing starts, but he also keeps wickets. Now what that means is there's a lot of flexibility up in that top 6. Let's see what they can do now. Who opens with Buttler? They've gone 2 ways actually of Rajasthan. They've picked the very promising young Yashasvi Jaiswal, offers a left-handed option between Buttler and Smith. Or they say, hang on, let's go for experience. Let's go for tried and tested. Maybe just past his prime, but still someone who can deliver in this kind of tournament. They've gone with Robin Uthappa. So either Jaiswal or Uthappa at the top of the order with Jos Buttler. Then you've got Steve Smith at 3. Now straight away there's a small little issue there. Uthappa strike rates, Steve Smith strike rates. You don't want that top order to get a little sort of clustered, little tied up there at the top. Put too much pressure on Buttler to go. But if Buttler can fire, then he makes it easier for everybody else. I'm going to be looking very closely at Sanju Samson as well this year. Such a good player. He starts off the season very well, sometimes tends to taper off a little bit, but he needs this big breakthrough season. And can you imagine, Sanju Samson is firing, and alongside you've got Buttler, you've got Stokes, you've got Smith, maybe you've got Uthappa or Jaiswal and Riyan Parag below. If Samson starts to fire, then wow, Rajasthan Royals are good. But also, Samson needs to make a case for himself at the national level, and nothing better than to have a big season for Rajasthan and say, come look at me, because his strike rate, if he's batting deep, is outstanding. So Samson is one player I'm looking forward to. And remember, they've made a late pick as well in David Miller. So if something happens to Smith, maybe they change the batting order a little bit, something happens to Stokes, they can still bring Miller in because they've got those bowling options down at the end, not the scariest, but bowling options, so they can play David Miller too. So they've got that little flexibility, but players to watch out for: Buttler, Samson, and then let's see if Archer, who's coming off an indifferent English season, can give them a big one. If the pitches are, as we believe, slow, slightly helping turn, those kind of pitches down the order, then you need more spin bowling. Now Rajasthan have stocked themselves with decent fast bowling. They've got Jofra Archer, fantastic, one of the best in the world. Outstanding backup in Tom Curran. There's O'Shane Thomas, there's Andrew Tye. Where do all these get a game if you have to have Buttler, Smith and Stokes? So there's a little issue in that the backup is very strong in one department, but if you have to play 2 or 3 spin bowling options, you've got the admirable Shreyas Gopal. Now what's your second spin bowling option? Do you want one of them to bat a little bit and play Rahul Tewatia at 7? Or do you want a finger spinner who sometimes is good on these kind of tracks? Maybe Mahipal Lomror will bat at 7 and bowl a little bit of finger spin. So those are some of the issues, and they want a lot out of their Indian bowling because their top order is stacked with overseas batsmen. They've gone back with Unadkat, but Unadkat comes wiser, with lots more experience, and doesn't have this great stress of that exorbitant price tag on him and the need to deliver. If Unadkat can bowl at the death and bowl well and is in form, then Unadkat and Archer at the death, the Stokes bowling till late into the death, that aspect is covered, and then maybe they have another backup Indian fast bowler to go with them, or maybe an extra spinner in Mayank Markande, who just kept getting transferred. I think for a major part, he didn't know whether he was Mumbai, whether he was Delhi, whether he's Rajasthan, but he's now settled in Rajasthan. So there'll be another slow bowling option. They've got Riyan Parag in there as well. That's another slow bowling option, but that's leg spin too. Where is the traditional off-spin, finger spin? Why did they let go of Gautam? I don't know the issues were. He had one bad season but had so much to offer with the free hitting down the order and off-spin bowling up at the start, but you can't think about who you don't have. So now what about Rajasthan? I think a lot depends on the strength of that top order and the ability to keep giving runs. 140, 150 games, I don't know if they have the bowling to be able to defend that well enough. So they'll need their overseas batsmen to fire. And if that happens, then Rajasthan could well be a force. This year's tournament, almost everybody is in with a chance. The teams are very well structured, but it's up to the stars to overcome these couple of little deficiencies, and then Rajasthan can still be the team to watch.